Okay, here we are, and we're climbing the escalator, which is quite a long one, and we're approaching here the Helix Sky Dining, and this is at the EmQuartier, and I know it's a French word, but here we're in Bangkok, Thailand. And here we're outside. Now, in Bangkok, normally the temperature is between 85 and 95 degrees all the time. This is a rather unusual day because the overnight temperature fell down into the 70s, which, since I've been here, I do not experience a temperature in the 70s unless I'm inside a building that's air conditioned. So this is quite refreshing. So it is very pleasant. It feels like Northern California. It does not feel like Bangkok, Thailand. And a lot of these restaurants you recognize, of course, Starbucks. And we have McDonald's and Burger King, Kentucky Fried Chicken. And this is a beautiful day here in Bangkok. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Here we see the SkyTrain below us. There's the Emporium across the street, and these two malls are actually linked together. So it's the Emporium and the EmQuartier. So here's our electric train. That train is very nice. It's air conditioned. And actually the cars, there's no separator between the cars. In other words, you get in the front car and you can look all the way back to the very rear of the train. It's all open inside. The train is very smooth. The temperature, I would say, is in the high 70s, low 80s. Quite pleasant. This is a good day to enjoy outdoor dining. There's a little bit of wind, but not much. And around us you see a lot of these modern skyscrapers. Now, even though the COVID pandemic has taken its toll here on the economies of many nations, Thailand included, they're still struggling and still marching along. Okay, here we are on the base floor of the Helix, and this is a kind of Helix food center. It actually is a series of restaurants. Many of them are very high-end restaurants. This is quite fascinating. Now, this is totally enclosed and air-conditioned, but we do have, of course, the fountains, and we see the elevators. And as we look up, we see the planter with the spiraling planter climbing from 6, 7, 8, 9 all the way up to the very top. And as we walk up there, what you'll notice is the actual diameter of the building contracts as you get to the top floor. So you'll notice that on the first level the dining rooms are very large, but as we get to the top, the restaurant's dining area gets smaller and smaller. Okay, here we're leaving the 5th floor and moving to the 6th floor of the Helix dining. And this is a very interesting, it's open, you can clear up to the skylight above us. And actually each floor, the actual circumference of the circle that forms the floor gets a little smaller as we go up. So this is one of the largest floors. And the first thing we come up on is MK Live. It's a very nice restaurant. What happens is the food that they serve you is actually raw And you have actually a pot of boiling water that you actually cook your food, so you actually prepare it yourself. Now as we look at the tables, right now, today is Monday, and this is actually September 5th. This is Labor Day, but they don't celebrate Labor Day here in Thailand, obviously. And it's coming upon about 4:30 in the afternoon. So we're a little early for the dining crowd. You can see we do have people in some of the restaurants, but a lot of them are just getting geared up for the evening rush. Now, even though we are in Bangkok, Thailand, and the primary language is Thai, you do see a lot of English characters and English words. Now as we walk around this floor, it's actually spiraling up. So we're actually going uphill. Now there are escalators and elevators that go between the floors, but we don't need to do that. We can walk all the way to the top just following this path. So as we walk around the circle, each restaurant is a new restaurant, because we're transitioning from 6th floor to 7th floor, 7th floor to 8th floor, etc. But as we get closer to the top floor, you'll notice that the diameter of the building gets less and less. Now here we have an available space. Obviously a restaurant here has decided to give up and try something else, but here we see one. Here's a Kobe, or they're calling this the Omni beef. This is the Japanese premium beef. Now, many of these Japanese style restaurants, you actually prepare the food at your table. So they'll actually have a little grill that's usually charcoal, real charcoal, and you're going to be cooking your own beef. And here we see a Vietnamese restaurant. And here we see a Chinese style restaurant that actually has the called Four Seasons, and there I see the roast duck and the roast pork there hanging in the window. Taking a look at some of the dishes that they serve. Here we have a seafood restaurant. Here we have a restaurant specializing in steak, burgers, and beer. And here we pick out our premium steak and they prepare it as you want it. We have several beers on tap, and then of course obviously selection of lavish desserts. Now here we see a Thai restaurant. Now we're actually transitioning from 7 to 8, so here we're coming across the 8th floor. And again, you'll notice the circle getting smaller and smaller. The size of the dining rooms of these restaurants is getting smaller and smaller. Right, here we can see the 8th floor, and as we come around the corner we're going to be transitioning to the 9th floor. Now I see that some of the restaurants are very busy and some of them appear to be empty, so they have kind of a specialized clientele that's not here yet. And again, we see available spaces. And a lot of restaurants and hotels here in Thailand have gone through a hard time because of the COVID pandemic. Here, as Thailand reopened its doors, they've had to kind of shut it down again to control the spread of COVID. Now you'll notice we're getting a little bit different. We passed a computer store that specialized in Bitcoin mining computers. Here we have a conference hall. In fact, it continues around. They're calling it BitCub Social, or BitCub M Social. In fact, I guess the Bitcoin mining and the crypto night party, they kind of go hand in hand. Here we're coming up on a premium sushi buffet. And this is always interesting because when you look at the menu, here you start at about 500 baht, move to 900 baht. It lets you have anything on the premium, or the super premium, the premium and the standard. And then of course the ultimate lets you cover it all the way down. And the ultimate does include beer and Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Okay, and so here we're on the 9th floor, and that's as far as we go. That's the end. However, I do have to point out though that this end that we see is actually the entrance to kind of an entertainment venue right here. Okay, now we've used the escalator, used the walkway to climb to the 9th floor, and now we'll look down, and here we're going from 9, 8, 7, and 6. And so here we have the Helix restaurants.